I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said that all that I am and all that I will ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. And I think that's something that's very, very important. To these 8th graders that are present here, I want to do 2 things, and I won't be before you long. I want to really inspire you, and I want to motivate you. I want to inspire you who have won awards to continue to do what you've done these second 9 weeks, to do it again the next 9 weeks. And I also want to motivate students who are not on the floor to do what you can so that you can be here next year. I want everyone to repeat after me, please. I can do it. I want you to say it more with power and conviction. I can do it. I want to give you 3 points to help you to do better as it relates to your academics and your personal life as a middle school student. The first way you can do better is to repeat after me, please. I think I can. Say it one more time for me, please. I think I can. Henry Ford says, if you think you can or think you can't, you are right. College E. Wilson said that if you can determine what a man should think, you'll never have to concern yourself with what he would do. If you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you'll never have to order him to the back door. He will go without being told. And if there is no door, his very nature would demand one. So it's very important that you learn to think for yourself, to think and resonate within yourself that I can do it, and I think I can. Mrs. Thomas, I used to think that because my mother was pregnant with me when she graduated high school that I may not be successful. I used to think because a year later after I was born that my family we moved to a poor section in Thomasville, North Carolina, that I may not be successful. I used to think because I lived in the hood or in the ghetto that I may not be successful. I used to think that because my dad literally slept with a loaded shotgun beside his bedpost for fear that someone would break in our home, that possibly I may not be successful. I used to think because my family and I moved 7 times before I got to the 8th grade that I may not be successful. Until I remember a story I read back in 2nd grade. It's from the little engine that could. How he carried that heavy burden up the mountain, and he said to himself, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And before you know it, he carried that heavy burden all the way up the mountain, and he succeeded. I said to myself all the way to the 9th grade, I think I can, I think I can. Until I hit the core subject of math. And when I ran into math, it was very, very challenging to me. So challenging to me that it challenged my thinking to the point where I said, you know what, I don't think I can do this. Math is so hard. I never were introduced to algebra before. And I said, you know what, maybe I can't do this. And all of a sudden, my words began to get into my psychology, and in essence, I failed math. I didn't take it seriously. When I got the sheets to bubble in my answers, I just put in the answers that I felt was right without even reading the questions. And I failed the 9th grade because I started thinking that I couldn't do it. I could not do it. And it was okay for me to fail the 9th grade. I didn't feel like I needed to explain anything to the principal. I didn't care about explaining it to my homeboys or friends. I didn't even feel like I needed to explain it to my girlfriend. But that one person I was afraid to explain it to when I got home was my mother. When I got home, my mother who was there, she just got home. My little brother was 3 years younger than I. He passed, but I failed. My mother walked in, still smelling like the factory that she worked in, walking slow because her body ached from working all day. And I had to explain to my mother that I failed the 9th grade. My mother looked at me after I explained it to her. She started crying. She says, Curt, how could you do this to me? How could you fail math? You told me you were doing your homework. I thought you said that you didn't have homework, but you lied to me. How could you fail the 9th grade? And she started crying. And then I realized something very important, Dr. Watson. I realized that my mother was not crying because we didn't have a nice house. She was not crying because we didn't have a fancy home or a nice Mercedes to drive. She wasn't crying because she couldn't afford to buy me Jordans or the best of things. She was crying simply because she believed in me. My first point was to think you can. My second point is to believe you can. I realized that if my mother believed in me, then I must second point is believe in myself. Repeat after me, please. I believe I can. One more time, guys, with power and conviction. I believe I can. Sometimes I'm biased. Sometimes I think that the only difference between you sitting in the audience and you not being here is because of believing that you can. There's no difference. No one is better than you are. You just have to simply believe that you can. Repeat after me, please. Again, I believe I can. My mother believed in me. And the next year I had to go to school and deal with the embarrassment of being labeled a failure. Being around those guys who didn't believe in me anymore because I didn't believe in myself. Once I started believing in myself, I grabbed a hold to that core subject of math. And you know what? I aced every single math exam for the rest of my time in high school. Because of the second point, I believed I could do it. Repeat after me, please, again. I can do it. It's not important just to understand that you think you can do it, believe you can do it. You have to take that third and final part, which is, I know I can do it. I think I can do it. I believe I can do it. Now I know I can do it. Once you start thinking that you know you can do it, what it does, it builds confidence within you. It builds confidence and gives you a different mindset about your academics and about your life. You start taking your academics seriously. You start taking responsibility of your personal growth. When I failed the 9th grade, I read this poem and I want to read it to you. It's a poem that gave me life and it rekindled my ability to take my life and my academics seriously. It's a poem from George Washington Carver. As a matter of fact, it's his favorite poem written by Edgar A. Guest, and it says simply this. It says, figure it out for yourself, my lad. You have all that the greatest of men have had. You have 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 legs, and 2 eyes, and a brain to use if you would be wise. With this equipment, they all began. So start from the top and say, I can. He says, look them over from the wise and the great. They take their food from a common plate. With similar knives and forks they use, with similar laces they tie their shoes. The world considers them brave and smart. But you have all that they had when they made their start. He says, you can triumph and come to skill. You can be great if you only will. You are well equipped for what fight you choose. You have arms and legs and a brain to use. And the man who has arisen with great deeds to do began his life with no more than you. He says, you are the handicap that you must face. You are the one who must take your place. You must say where you want to go and how much you must study the truth to know. He says, God has equipped you for life, but he lets you decide what you want to be. Courage must come from the soul within. The man must furnish the will to win. So figure it out for yourself, my lad. You were born with all that the great have had. With your equipment, they all began. So get a hold of yourself and say, I can. I want Robert E. High Middle School to repeat after me, please. I can do it. Repeat after me, please, again. I can do it. Finally, whatever you decide to do in life, whether it's to be the President of the United States, to be the second Black president, to be a principal, to be an entrepreneur, to be an architect, whatever you decide to do, I want to leave you with this last thought. I want you to do, and I say this in the spirit of Benjamin E. Mays, he says, whatever you do it so great that no man alive, no man dead, and no man yet to be born could do it any greater. Thank you, Principal Brown. Thank you, Mrs. Newton. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. And thank you, Robert E. Middle School. And congratulations to the 8th grade with your accomplishments. Thank you.